Good evening, guys. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. We've been having some real issues trying to come online, but now everything is sorted out and we are finally live now, guys. We're finally live. Let me share this. Let me share the link real quick so the so my student can actually join in. 1 minute. This is not actually gonna. I don't know. Okay. Good evening, guys. So today we are mainly going to be dealing with trends. We're mainly going to be talking about trends, and I'll try my possible best to make sure you get the whole concepts and digest everything. Digest everything. Stick around, and let's wait for just some other people to join in the class. Okay, so let's go straight to business. Straight to business. Straight to business. There's no time to waste. Let's get straight to business, guys. Let's get straight to business. Uh, yeah. Why is this doing like this? Can't I type? Okay. You're welcome, guys. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome, guys. You're welcome. Let me start saying one in the chat box so I can actually know that so I can start immediately, please. Let me start saying one or probably seeing some art reactions so I can actually get started. But we don't have much time to waste. And tonight this class is going to be value packed. There will be a lot of values for you guys to actually gain in tonight's class. So make sure you stick around. Make sure you listen to every instruction from this class. You're welcome. You're welcome. Soft life, you're welcome. So make sure you stick around. Make sure you follow the instruction in this class, and this class is actually going to be value packed, value packed, value packed. So let me get straight to business because we don't have time to waste. So tonight's class is mainly going to be dealing with trend. Lawrence, you're welcome. So tonight's class is really going to be dealing with trend, the trend in the market, and I'm going to be breaking down trends. I'm going to be breaking down trends for you to understand market, understand what makes a trend change in the market. Somebody was asking me a question after our last class. As you are joining, just start dropping one box so I can actually know if you guys are following. So somebody was asking a question after the last class that we had, and then he was asking, how do you identify when a trend is actually changing? Now I'm going to be digesting every single one of those questions in this class. And after this class, you are getting close to be a forex trader, and you be able to understand the in-depth of what forex trading is all about. Because the whole idea is you can't trade forex successfully without understanding what trend is. And I can tell you that is what makes forex very, very easy to trade and navigate successfully. So you need a basic understanding. As you are joining, start dropping one in the chat box so I can actually know that okay, yes, you guys actually follow it. You feel me? So that's just to keep us more active and to keep the live class active. And make sure if you are yet to subscribe, make sure you subscribe now make sure you subscribe now because it actually keeps me going, and I'll be able to drop more educational content like this for you guys. So, talking about the trend of the market, in this class, we are going to be learning what is the trend. We are going to be understanding the three types of market trend that we actually have, and I'm going to be breaking it down practically for you how it is traded, how we trade the trend in the market. And in our next class, we are going to be diving into the major apps that we use in trading and how to actually set them up fully. In our next class, we are going to be dealing with that. So in this class, we are going to be dealing with how to trade the trend in the market successfully and how you can, merely looking at your chart as a beginner, you might not understand what's all these things going on. What's this drawing? Why is this drawing up? Why is this drawing down? How do I even know where to get in? How do I understand what I'm actually doing in the market? This class is going to help you break each and every one of these things down. So stick around. I'm going to try as much as possible to round up this class within 30 minutes or 40 minutes at most because it's going to be value packed and I'm going to make sure I deliver as usual. So if you are with me up to this extent, drop two in the chat box. Drop two in the chat box. Yeah, drop your two in the chat box while I continue. So let me talk off this for now as we before going into the chat, we're actually going to be doing some drawings first so you can actually understand this better. If you can hear me, drop two. Okay, 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 okay. Well done, well done. So let's continue, guys. Uh, let me hide this, and we're going to start with some drawings. We're going to start with some drawings before actually going into the real charts. Before going into the real charts, we're going to start off with some drawings. Now, talking about the trend in the market, how many types of trend? How many movement do we have in the market? And in what way does the market move? How many movement do we have in the market? We have three types of trend in the market. Three types of market movement. Three types of markets. One, we have the uptrend. Two, we have the downtrend. Three, we have the ranging market. The ranging market is the same thing as sideways. Yeah. So these are the three types of trend that we have in the market, and we also have another one that some people don't really know how to. We have another one that is also very risky to trade, which is the choppy market. But I'll be giving you graphical representation of that. We also have the choppy market. Must stick around. So, talking about the three types of trend we have in the market, we have the uptrend, and we're going to be treating all of these things one by one. We are going to be treating them one by one. Now, let me give an example of an uptrend. And after explaining all of these things, I'm actually going to be teaching you how to trade all of these things successfully, how to trade them successfully, how to trade all of these things successfully. Now, talking about an uptrend simply means uh, the situation in the market where price is going upward, where price is going to the top side, where price is going to the top side. And I'm going to be breaking this thing down for you, just like the beginner class, the way I explained the movements in the market and how to actually like know where the market is headed to. But you're going to be getting the better understanding today. So make sure you actually pay full attention. Pay full attention. So an uptrend market goes this way. It is the situation in the market now. Let me try to make this way thicker now. Let me try to make it thick, but I tend to like make my own very very light so it can be much more easier. Let me just make it tick. Now, in order for you to have an uptrend, you need to have a low, right? You need to have a low. Now, this right here is an high. Are you following? This right here is an high. Yeah. This right here is an high. Let me try to make it 16 so it will be more bold. This is an high. This right here is a low. Now, when you see markets trending in this situation, in this format, that you see the market coming down and giving another high that is higher than the previous high in the market, then what does that mean? It means that the trend is what? Bullish. The uptrend is also known as a bullish market. It means the trend is bullish, meaning that it is trending to the top side. It is bullish. It is trending to the top side. Now you have another low again, and you have another high, breaking the previous high. Now it's just like this. It's when you even have an equal high. When you have an equal high, that does not mean that automatically the market is no longer in an uptrend, but it's just signaling that what you should watch out and study the movements properly. Now, an uptrend simply means what? When we have series of higher highs and lower highs. That is what makes up an uptrend. That is what makes up an uptrend. What makes up an uptrend is series of higher highs and lower highs. Now, this second high right here is higher than the previous high, and that makes it what? An higher high. That makes it what? An higher high. This makes it what? An higher high. And this low right here is higher than the previous low. Can you see that this low right here is still higher than this previous low right here? And this makes this zone what? An higher low. This makes this what? An higher low. So series of higher highs and higher lows are what makes up what? An uptrend. And just continuing like that, this also what? HH, higher high, and this also what? HL, and that's what? Higher low. That's an higher low. And this, the market just continue that way, higher high. Because what? It is higher than the previous high. It is higher than this previous high. Are actually higher than this previous high. And I've been able to explain all what support and resistance is. In our last class, we explained what support and resistance is, right? So I believe you actually have a better understanding of support and resistance. Zones, your zones. We're actually going to be treating that better in our subsequent class. So you can see right here, series of what? Higher highs and higher lows. Those are the things that actually do what? That makes up an uptrend. These are the things that makes up an uptrend. An uptrend just consists of what? Series of higher highs and higher lows. As long as the new high is higher than the previous one, it means what? The uptrend is still what? It's still intact. So when you see a market trending in this format, it simply means what? You are in an uptrend in that market. It simply means you are in an uptrend. If you understand up to this point, drop one in the chat box. If you understand up to this point, drop one in the chat box. If you understand up to this point, drop one in the chat box. If you understand up to this point, drop one. I want to actually know if you guys are following. JC Prosper, you're welcome. So I can see one. I can see one right here. If you understand up to this point, drop one. I want to make sure you guys are actually following. I don't just want to rush you. I want to make sure you're actually following and you understand the in-depth. Do you understand me? I want to make sure you understand everything right here. I want to make sure you understand everything right here. I can see everything. I can see everything. One, 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 one. Okay. So let's continue. So the series of higher highs and higher lows are what makes up what? An uptrend. Now I'm going to I'm going to still explain how to trade this perfectly. Perfectly. I'm going to still explain how to trade this perfectly. And in our last class, I tried as much as possible to break down what? Support and resistance. Support and resistance. So this is an example of an uptrend. Now, let's go to the next. Downtrend. What makes up a downtrend? 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 I'm going to be drawing an example of a downtrend, and as well, I'm still going to be going to the. I'll still go to the chart as well to point out these things for you, so that you understand all of these things better. So that you understand all of these things better. Now let's go downtrend. We have downtrend. Now, how do you know if a market is actually trending to the downside? How do you know if a market is trending to the downside? If you see a market trending to the downside, you have to have series of what? Lows. Series of lows that are breaking the previous low, that is lower than the previous low. Series of lows. Series of lows. Now, how do we know if this is a downtrend? Now, we have an eye right here. Yeah, we have an eye. Right here, we have a low. We have our low right here. And right here, we have our lower eye. And what makes this point a lower eye? What makes this point a lower eye? Simply because what? It is lower. Simply because it is lower than the previous eye. You can see we had an initial eye right here. Yeah, we had an initial eye right here. And the new eye that we had right here is what? Is lower than this previous eye. So automatically that is what? That is a lower eye. That is a lower eye. And right here, what of this low that is lower than this previous low? What do we call this low that is lower than this previous low? This low that is lower than the previous low is what? A lower low. Is a lower low. And right here again, we have another lower high as well. We have another lower high here as well. And just like that, just like that. So what makes up a downtrend? What makes up a downtrend is what? Series of lower lows and lower highs. Those are the things that makes up what? A downtrend. And I'm still going to explain how to identify when an uptrend becomes a downtrend and when a downtrend becomes an uptrend. And how many lows or how many highs do you have to see before actually knowing what trend that market is? Before understanding the trend that market is fully in. Do you understand, guys? Before understanding what trend that market is fully in. So I'm going to actually break that down for you properly. So just stick around, guys, stick around. So this is what makes up a downtrend. Series of what? Lower highs and lower lows are what makes up what? A downtrend. Unlike an uptrend. So now when you see a market that when you see a downtrend market, for example, and you see that a downtrend market fails to what? Let's say it came back here and it fails to give you a lower low that is lower than this previous low, then automatically you have to start doing what? You have to start observing the market that yes, there's probability of a change right here. But the market gives you an equal low does not mean that market is no longer a downtrend. Yeah, it does not mean that the market is no longer a downtrend. You just have to study it properly and be able to like identify where the change started from. Now, right here, instead of the market giving you a lower low, let's say the market gave you an equal low right here. Let's say the market gave you an equal low right here, and it broke this previous low, this previous high. Let's say it broke this previous high right here. Immediately it breaks, automatically your mind is shifting. your mindset is shifting already that what there is a change in the market. That there is a change in the market. I'm still going to, after explaining the sideways movement, I'm going to explain what? I'm going to explain how many highs and lows do you have to see before knowing that a trend has actually changed, and how to identify it perfectly on the market in the market. How to identify it perfectly on the charts. Do you understand me? So let me explain the sideways movement market, and then I'll break down how many highs you need to see before knowing what trend the market is in, or how many lows do you have to see before understanding what trend the market is in at the moment. Do you understand me, guys? So let's continue. I want to know if you're actually following up to this point. If you are following up to this point, just type I do, or I am. If you are following up to this point, just type I am. If you are following up to this point, just type I am. I am. So I will know that you guys are actually around and you can see hear me clearly and you're understanding this thing. Just like I said, I don't want to rush you. I actually want to take this thing one step before the other, and I want to make sure that you guys actually understand. Okay, okay. Robots, uh, I am. Okay. Well done, guys. Well done, guys. So this actually shows that you guys are actually following. This actually shows that you guys are actually following. Okay, okay. So I can see a lot of I am. So you guys are actually following. You guys are actually following. I love that. I love that. I love that. So let's continue. Let's keep the energy up. Let's keep the energy up. Let's keep the energy up, guys. Okay. So let's continue. The next trend that we actually have to understand here is the ranging market. How do you know if the market is ranging? Now, as a beginner trader, you should try as much as possible to avoid what? Trading ranging markets. Because there's actually a perfect technique to trade ranging markets. And if you are not careful enough, you might end up doing what? Losing. You might end up losing your money to the markets. So you need to understand how to trade a ranging market properly. But you can't understand how to trade a ranging market, even identify a ranging market. So I'm going to be showing you a perfect example of a ranging market now. Do you understand, guys? So what's of a ranging market? A ranging market is simply when it's simply the situation in the market when the market is moving between a particular zone. When the market is ranging, when the market is consolidating. The ranging market is also what we call the consolidation. It's the process when the market is consolidating. The market is failing to trend properly. It's not trending to the downside, it's not trending to the upside. It's just consolidating, it's just moving between a zone. It's moving between an high and a low. And if you are in this class, if you are yet to actually subscribe, make sure you subscribe now, guys. Subscribe. Let's keep the energy up. Because the more you actually subscribe, it's actually drawing people to actually joining the channel and gain from this knowledge that you're actually gaining as well. So stick around, guys. So ranging markets is when the market is moving between an high, between a particular level, and it's just trending between an high and a low. I'm going to give you a perfect example of that. And a ranging market is also what we call a consolidation. A consolidating market is when the market is consolidating between a particular high and a low, and how to trade a ranging market perfectly. How to trade a ranging market perfectly. Now, a ranging market moves this way. Now, this is a perfect example of a ranging market. This is a perfect example of a ranging market. A ranging market is series of highs and lows within a zone. Series of highs and lows within a zone. When the market fails to actually trend, when the market is not trending to the top side, it's not trending to the downside, but it's just what consolidating, moving within a zone. And how do you trade a ranging market? When you identify, Now let me start with actually explaining this one. When you identify a ranging market and you see that the market is ranging, now there is a difference between a ranging market and a choppy market. We also have a choppy. Let me give you an example of that first, so that you actually understand which one to avoid and which one to trade. But as a beginner trader, it's better to actually avoid both. It's better to avoid both because if you are not careful enough, you might end up losing money. Now, a choppy market, a choppy market is the worst market condition to actually trade. Why? Because market does not move in a particular direction. It doesn't even move between an high and a low. It just keeps breaking structures and doing anyhow. That kind of market condition can be what you see something like this. Wait, sorry, market doesn't go back. But you start to see something like this. This kind of market condition is something to actually do what? Sorry, I actually have to like I do rubbish. But sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that, guys. Market doesn't move this way. Yeah. So we actually have examples of chopping markets like this. The chopping market doesn't give a real movement. It's not moving between a particular high and a low, but it's just what consolidating crazily. It's just misbehaving. Market is not moving in a proper way. It's not even trending between an high and a low. It's not even trending between an high and a low. But what market is just moving. It's just moving sideways movement. Now, how do you trade a ranging market? A ranging market, you need to identify what market condition it is in at that point first. When you're able to identify what market condition it is in, mark out the low, mark out the low, and mark out the high, just like this. Mark out the low and mark out the high. And how do you trade a ranging market? You buy from the highest point, you sell from the highest point, and you buy from the lowest point. You sell from the highest point and you buy from the lowest point. That is the perfect way to actually do what? To trade a ranging market. That's the perfect way to do what? To trade a ranging market. That's the perfect way to trade a ranging market. To trade a ranging market, you need to identify what market condition it is in at that point. Yeah. After identifying that, you try as much as possible to do what? Wait for a market to either get to the high or for market to get to the low. And you buy when market gets to the low, you sell when market gets to the high. Do you understand what I'm saying now? Just like the basic rule in trading that I've always told you guys that you do what? You sell from the high and you buy from the low. So that principle applies to ranging markets, and you need to be very calm and very, very conservative enough to bank from this opportunity. And you do what? When you see market coming to the low, you set your buy order, right? Are you with me? You set your buy order and you set your stop loss below the consolidation. You set your stop loss below. You set your stop loss below the consolidation. Are you with me? And you target the next high. So that's how to trade the ranging market. And when market gets to the high again, when market gets to the high, once you are seeing rejections, you sell. You sell as well. And you set your stop loss what? Above the ranging zone. You set your stop loss above the consolidation zone. So this is a perfect way to actually do what? To trade a consolidation market. To trade a consolidating market. Now that you actually understand the trends in the market, now trade this trend in the market. How do you trade this trend in the market? How do you trade this trend in the market? Before explaining how do you trade the trend in the market, let me explain to you let me explain to you how do you know when a trade is actually changing its structure? How do you know when a trade is actually changing its structure? Now, to know when the market is changing its structure, let's say for an uptrend, how do you know when an uptrend is changing its structure? Now you see the market giving series of higher highs and lower highs, right? So you see this in the market. You see the market going this way. Yeah. So you see the market trending to the top side like this. Now I'm basically explaining what I'm basically explaining how do you identify when the market trend is actually changing. How do you identify when the market trend is actually changing? Now for an uptrend, you see the market trending to the top side. Now instead of market came back to retest right here. Yeah, and it's supposed to continue the movement to the upside. But instead of market coming back to this top side, you see markets might sometimes give an equal high, but instead of market coming to the top side, you see markets break this last low that we have right here. You see markets break this last low that we have right here. That's automatically giving you what? The idea that what? The trend is actually changing. Now, how do you mark this out? Right here we have an eye. Yeah, we have an eye right here. We have a low right here. Yeah. Right here we have an higher high. Right here we have an higher high. Yeah. Right here we have an higher high. Now this low is higher than this previous low, so automatically we have a what? Higher low. That's an HL. I'm just trying to keep it short so we can actually uh proceed without wasting time. Right here we have an higher high. Yeah. Right here we have an higher high, and right here we have an higher low. We have an higher low. Market is just giving what? Series of higher highs and higher lows. We have another higher low right here. We have an higher low right here. Let me just try to paste this. Okay. So we have an higher high right here. Now market give another higher high right here. Now instead of market giving what? Instead of market giving instead of market giving a higher low, instead of market giving an higher low to continue the movement to the top side, instead of market giving an higher low to continue the movement to the top side, broke this last higher low to the downside. Automatically that is shifting what? Your idea that what? The trend is changing. But that you see this kind of thing happen doesn't mean that what? You should immediately start selling. No, you can't start selling immediately. But you need to what? Relax. But that's giving you an idea that what? The trend is changing. That's giving you an idea. That's giving you an idea that the trend is actually changing. Now let's mark out the zones. Let's mark out the zones. Uh just like I told you in support and resistance in our last class. Support and resistance. Yeah. Support and resistance levels. Yeah. Just like I taught you support and resistance levels, but I don't actually want to go into support and resistance level now, guys. I don't want to go into support and resistance level. So market is breaking as long as market continue giving the series of higher highs and lower low, that means it's still maintaining what? Its uptrend. But now when you start seeing some corrections in the market, and this correction right here, you are waiting to get on the buy because you are literally waiting for market to come and retest this higher high right here and give you another new higher low and continue the movement to the top side. Now market broke the last low that it's high, and automatically that's shifting your mind that what? The trend is changing. The trend is changing, right? It's giving you the idea that the trend is changing. Now how do you know that this trend is actually changing to the downside? Now this basic movement right here, this basic movement right here. Now this basic movement right here, this basic movement right here is already giving you the idea that what? Is already giving you the idea that what? The trend is changing. It's already giving you the idea that the trend is changing. But you can't just enter a sale because you see one break, one single break, or probably you get a retest and you sell immediately there. But you need to be professional to actually. But to really know that the trend of the market has changed from an uptrend, you need to see at least two lower lows, lower highs. I don't know if you actually get that. You need to see at least what two lower lows and two lower highs in order to know that the trend has actually changed. Now, when you get into the market a new day and you check out your higher time frame, you check out all your movements and you understand what you're actually waiting for to do in the market. What's the next thing for you to actually do? You mark out your zones. I'm actually going to be breaking that. You will not understand that better now, but I'm actually going to be breaking that more for you. But to even know the trend of the market, you need to see at least what if you, for an uptrend, you need to see at least two higher highs and two higher lows. I need I need I need that to actually sink. I need to actually sink that into your head. You need to see at least what two higher highs and two higher lows to confirm that the trend is an uptrend. And for a downtrend, you need to see at least what two lower highs and two lower lows. Now, this trend has been an uptrend. How do I know that this trend has actually trend into being a downtrend? Now, I saw this break of the previous low because this previous higher low, market was supposed to just test it and give us a new higher low right here again and continue the movement in the top side. But now, market broke it, which it was not supposed to break. Market broke it to the downside. And for us to get on the sell, we either get on the sell right here uh, as an idea of what this support level becoming a resistance, getting on the sell right here, or wait until you get at least what lower low or two new lower highs. And how do we know that this trend has actually changed? Now, right here, right here. Now, this right here, now this becomes your high. This becomes a new high, right? Okay. This are lower. This is a lower high. Why? This is a lower high. And why is this a lower high? Why is this a lower high, guys? Why is this a lower high? Now, why is this a lower high? This high right here is lower than this previous high. Is lower than this previous high. So it's automatically what? A lower high. This thing is very, very simple. Very, very, very simple. And what is this then? What is this? This zone right here. This one right here. This one right here. What is this? What do I call this level right here? I need that answer in the comment section. In the chat box. I need that answer in the chat box. This level right here that my cursor is at. This level right here that my cursor is at. This level right here that my cursor is at. What do I call this level right here? What do I call this level right here? I need the answer in the chat box, please. You guys should start liking this class. Start liking this class. I'm still seeing zero under the likes. What level? What do I call that level? What do I call that level right here? What do I call that level? What do I call this level? This is what I'm asking of. This level right here, where my cursor is at. What do I call it? Exactly. Exactly. Well done. Well done. I need to start seeing those lights. Robert, well done. Lawrence, well done. Nana, well done. Exactly. Lower low is a what? Lower low. Why? Why is it a lower low? Because it is lower than the previous, right? Low. And that's automatically what? A lower low. That's a lower low. And when you start seeing lower lows in the market, it's giving you an idea that what? It's giving you an idea that what? The market is beginning in the downside. It's beginning to trade. It's beginning to give more of sellers. The sellers are coming into the market, right? The sellers are coming into the market. So this is what a lower low. Well done, guys. It shows that you guys are actually following. Oh, sorry about that. So this is what? A lower low. So this is automatically what? A lower low. We have a lower low right here. And what's this level? This level becomes what? This other level right here. Now this level right here is what? Is higher than this previous low again. So automatically this one is also what? A lower high. And we have another lower low right here, right? We have another lower low right here. Right, guys? So at this point, you have the basic understanding that what? The market is already trending to the downside, and you have more confidence that what? The market, why? And I told you that before, for you to know that a market is actually changing its trend, after seeing the breaks of the lows that is market is supposed to either respect, that is supposed to respect, either the lows or the highs that is literally supposed to respect. Aside seeing just that one, you need to see at least what for this uptrend now. You need to see at least what two lower lows and two lower highs form for you to understand that this uptrend is becoming what a downtrend. I hope you guys understand that better. I hope you understand that better now. So that's basically giving you an idea that what the market is trending to the downside now. It was previously an uptrend, but now it's in a downtrend. Why? Because you have now from this point to this point, you've had what? Two lower lows and two lower highs. And what are you supposed to do as a trader? You wait for the market to come because you can't buy when the market is high and you can't sell when the market is already low. You need to wait for what? Markets to give some rejection to the top side again. Probably give you a retest of this low. You wait for market to come back to give you a retest. And you do what? You bank on the sell. Why? Because you already see that what? This uptrend has finally changed to a downtrend. It has changed to a downtrend. And you do what? You bank on the opportunity. Why? You are not just second guessing. You already have the basic. You have the basic understanding, and you are able to see that yes, I'm not just here to play bet or whatever. But what you see that all your conferences are aligned. You see that yes, you actually know what you are doing in the market, and you do what? You sell right here. You sell right here. Now, I've basically explained to you what I've explained the trend of the market. I've explained when you how to identify when the trend of the market is actually changing, right? And that's what I basically did for you right here. Now, let's give an example of a downtrend changing into an uptrend. Let's give an example of a downtrend changing into an uptrend right now. Let's give an example of a downtrend changing into an uptrend. Now, for a downtrend is made up of what? Series of lower highs and lower lows, right? Are you following me, guys? It's made up of series of lower highs and lower lows. Now, right here, we have an high, right, guys? We have an high. Right here, we have a low. Are you following, guys? Right here, we have a low. Now, this low is lower than the previous low, right? This low is lower than the previous low. It's lower than the previous high, rather. So, actually becomes what? A lower high, right? This as well becomes what? A lower high. See, series of lower highs. Series of lower highs. Now, for you to know that this trend is actually trending to the downside, you already saw what? You're already seeing series of lower highs, lower highs. Why? This high right here, this is an high, and it is lower than this previous one. That's a lower high. This one is also lower than this previous one. Is a lower high. They are not on the same line. You can see right here, it's lower than each of them. And this one right here is a lower low because this low right here, this is a low. This is a low because as of the point where market got to this level, as of the point where market got to this level, this was the last low that it had. This was the last low. That was the last low that it had. Now, let's straight to the point. This is a what? What do we mark this level to be now? Okay, don't let me write that. in the chat box. What's this level now? What's this level right here? It's also what? A lower low, right? It's also a lower low. It's also what? A lower low. This also what? A lower low. Automatically, this is what? A lower low because it is lower than the previous low, right? Are you following, guys? It is lower than the previous low. So this is a lower low. Now I'm going to break down how you easily identify when a downtrend is what? Is changing into an uptrend. When a downtrend is changing into an uptrend. If you are following, drop one in the chat box. I want to know that you guys are actually following. I want to know if you guys are actually following. Drop one in the chat box if you are following. So let me continue as you are dropping your one in the chat box. How do you now identify if this trend, if this downtrend, now this is a downtrend, how do you identify when this downtrend automatically becomes an uptrend? How do you identify? Now, downtrend is basically made up of what? Series of lower highs and lower lows, right, guys? When a downtrend is made up of what? Series of lower highs and lower lows. Well done, well done. One, 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 one. I want to start seeing those one. It actually makes me believe that you're actually following. Okay, so let's continue. Now, when this market is trending to the downside, right? If this market now fail to give you a lower high right here, if this market gives you a lower high right here, if it fails to give you a lower low, if it fails to give you a lower low, automatically what? The trend is changing gradually. Automatically, the trend is what? Changing. Automatically, the trend is what? Changing gradually. Automatically, the trend is changing gradually. Gradually, the trend is changing gradually. Automatically. Now, right here, instead of this market to give you a lower low, it's now give you something related to this, and you see markets breaking this low right here, this high right here. You start seeing something like this. Automatically, what the trend is changing, and why is it changing? It's not just because you see the market is going to the top side. Yeah, it's not just because you see the market is going to the top side, but why? Now, market failed to give you a lower low. Instead of giving you a lower low, it gave you an high right here. Now this becomes an high, right? This automatically becomes an high. Are you following, guys? This automatically becomes an high, and this becomes your low. Now, as of this zone, this was your lower. This was a lower low. This automatically becomes what? A low, because market fails to give you a lower low. Market fails. Now, this 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 one right here, right? This low, this is also a low right here, but this low right here is higher than this previous low. Are you following, guys? Is higher than this previous low. Automatically, that makes this low what? What is this low then? I want the answer in the chat box. What is this low? What is this? What do we call this zone right here? Why? Because this low, this is also a low, and we're trying to signal. Well, this is actually giving us a signal that what? The market is changing its structure. The market is changing its movement. It's no longer trending. The downside is trending too. And I told you that you need to at least see for a downtrend. You need to at least see two series of higher highs and lower highs in order for you to know that that trend has actually changed to an upside. Now, what do we call this right here? What do we call this like right here? This zone right here. What do we call this? Okay, well done. Thank you. Lauren said higher low. HL higher low. Robert also said higher low. He also said higher low. I need another answer. I need answer from somebody else. How do I know if they are actually correct? I need somebody else to actually answer that. I need somebody else to actually answer that. What do we call that zone in the market? What do we call this zone right here in the market? I need another answer from somebody else, please. We have you guys, we have more than two people right here. So I need another answer. This low right here, this is the question. This low right here, this area where my cursor is at, right here. What do we call it? What do we call it? We've been having series of lower highs and lower lows, and now we have a new high. Now, what this level right here is higher than this previous low. What do we call this level right here? What do we call this level right here? Let me just follow what Robert has said. Higher low, right? This is an higher low. This is an higher low right here. And right here again, we have another what? Higher low. And right here, we have an higher high. Why? Because this high right here is higher than the previous high. This high right here is higher than the previous high. So that's automatically giving us what? The idea that what? The trend is changing. The trend is changing. This class is actually going to end in the next 10 minutes. So it's giving us the idea that what? The trend is changing. So now, in order for you to have full confidence, you see the market trends to the downside, yeah? You wait for at least two higher highs. You start seeing rejections. Yeah, you start seeing rejections and you start seeing market changing its pattern little by little from a downtrend into an uptrend. Now you wait for what? Either to start trading off either the support levels and start buying, or you do what? To get better confirmation, you wait for what? Two higher highs and two higher lows. And you do what? You buy immediately. You buy immediately. Now let's go into the real chart. Let's go into the real chart. At least now you have the basic understanding. You have the basic understanding. I've tried my possible best to actually break this down for you guys. And now you have the basic. Now you have the basic understanding of when a trend is changing. You can see I tried my possible best to actually break this down for you guys. Now you have the basic understanding of what when a trend is changing. Yeah. You have the basic understanding of what when a trend is changing. Yeah. You have the basic understanding. Now it's getting clearer, right? It's getting to guys. It's getting clearer. Okay, so I'm going into the I'm going into the real chart now. I'm going into the real chart now to actually show you guys. I'm going into the real chart now. Do you understand me, guys? I'm going into the real chart now to show you real life examples of all these things. To show you the real life example of all these things. I'll show you the uptrend, the downtrend. I'm going to show you how these things actually change and the movements. Do you understand, man? Do you understand, guys? So let's do that real quick. We have 7 minutes more. Let's do that real quick. I think I definitely have to. I definitely have to clear all of this. I think so. Okay. So I have to delete all of these drawings. Every single one of it. Okay. So let's continue, guys. Let's continue, guys. Now, for an uptrend, just like I said, for an uptrend, you see, we begin to have what? Series of higher highs. Of higher highs. I'm looking for a very clear, perfect example of an uptrend. Yeah, we have some right here. Can you see the way the market is trending? Can you see the way the market is trending? Can you see the way the market is trending? And we're expecting all the levels. Can you see? Can you see? Just perfect example of all the things I've been drawing for you guys. See right here. See right here. Can you see? This is an example. This is a perfect example of an uptrend. Right? Let me show you a perfect example of a downtrend. After showing you the perfect example of a downtrend, I'm now going to show you a scenario where an uptrend became a downtrend and a scenario where a downtrend became an uptrend as well. This is an example of a downtrend. You can see right here. Very, very clear. Very, very clear. Now, I want to show you a scenario where a downtrend became an uptrend. Right, guys? Where a downtrend became an uptrend, right? I'm looking for a perfect example for that. Okay, I go one right here. I go one right here. This is a downtrend, right? This is a downtrend. Can see the way the market is trending to the downside. Can you see the way the market is trending to the downside, right? Now the market was giving series of lows. This is a lower low. This is this is a lower high, right? This is a lower low. This is a lower high. This is a lower low. This is a lower high. This is a lower low, right? Market gave a lower high as well. Now market failed to give another lower low, right? And at this point, you start to wonder why is market not giving a lower low? You start to actually what? Watch out for this kind of zones. You start to watch out for this kind of zones. Why is the market not giving another lower low again? There's possibility that the trend is actually what? Changing. And you start watching, you become more observant. See, market failed to give a lower low and it's given an equal low right here. Now, instead of market to immediately market breaks this zone right here, it's already giving us a basic idea that what? The trend is changing gradually. The trend is changing gradually. Can you see right here? Market gave us what? This low, the market gave us a new high. Why? Why is it a new high? Now let's be more practical. Let's be more practical, guys. Right here we have an high. Right? Right here you have a low. Right here we have an higher low. Right? Now you have a lower low. This low is lower than the previous one. Right? Right? Right here again we have another lower low. Right here again we have another lower low. We have a new lower low. Okay. Right here we have an higher low. Right? We have an higher low right here. Are you following, guys? Right here we have an higher low. Right? Instead of the market to give us, now the market failed to give us what? A new low. The market failed to give us a new low. And you see what happened? Market broke the last higher low. Market broke the last higher low right here. Market broke the last higher low. And immediately broke the higher low. This automatically becomes what? A high. This now becomes the new high. This becomes the new high, right? And this now becomes what? Our new low. Our new low, right? And right here, market just continue that way. Can you see? It's rejected to the downside, gave an equal high again, but it didn't come below this level right here. Market never came below this level right here again. And what happened? See, it came back to retest that level and started giving series of what? Higher highs. Series of what? Higher highs. Can you see? Can you see how the market just changed? Can you see how the market changed? Right? Can you see the way market changed from what? A low, from a downtrend to an uptrend. Very, very simple and easy to understand. And you do what? You make sure you enter your levels at support and resistance level. Right. Uh I think we're actually going to be ending this class here and we'll continue tomorrow. So if you enjoyed this class so far, I want to start seeing your comments in the chat box. I want to start seeing your comments right now. If you enjoyed this class so far, I want to start seeing your comments right now. I want to start seeing your comments in the chat box. The space is getting low, so I actually want to start seeing your comments in the chat box. If you have any question, if you have any question as well, I want to start seeing your questions. I want to start seeing your questions, guys. I want to start seeing your questions. Thank you, Lawrence. Thank you, Lawrence. So I hope you guys actually understand the whole concept because that's the main idea. That's the main idea, guys. That's the main idea. That's the main idea. I hope you guys actually understand. Drop your questions now. Drop your questions now. Drop your questions now, guys. Let's address it together. Drop your questions. If there's anything you don't understand.